Welcome back to Lesson 8, which brings us to the conclusion of our journey through Proverbs. As we bring the series to a close today, we're going to think a bit about the faithfulness of God to fulfill everything he promises in Proverbs. Perhaps we don't have to look too far to find people who don't live up to their words. We feel let down by community and national leaders when they go back on commitments they've made. And we all know what it feels like to have someone close to us break an important promise. I remember a time I felt really let down by a colleague I once looked up to. It was an actor I was working with, and he seemed to take me under his wing a bit. And then I discovered he was talking me down behind my back, and it hurt. It made me feel very wary and a bit paranoid. As we come to the end of our series in Proverbs, we may feel a little hesitant about this book as well. Some of the assurances seem too good to be true. Some of the principles and expectations just a little bit too perfect. Life doesn't fit into a neat formula, and the book of Proverbs isn't trying to squeeze it into one. The offers in Proverbs of a long, healthy, prosperous life are to set our eyes onto the only place where they will be completely and eternally fulfilled: God's coming kingdom. We must always remember the key verse of Proverbs when it comes to wisdom. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. When God is most precious to us, we will begin to understand the truth that we were made for an eternal world with him, not this temporary one. While the life described in Proverbs directs us to look ahead, it also calls us to look to Christ. He is our wisdom. He lived out a wise life perfectly, so we could see what it looks like. Certainly his life wasn't easy. He knew poverty, pain, tiredness, hunger, rejection, homelessness, enemies, betrayal, suffering beyond comprehension, and a cruel death on the cross. No, his life wasn't easy, but it was full of his Father, full of the Spirit, full of joy. This full life and joy is what wisdom, a life belonging to Christ, promises, and that is a promise we can experience even today. Well, I hope you find today's final lesson helpful as you think about what it means for you to pursue wisdom in your own life. Once you've worked through the questions, press play on the video again, because I'd love to share a final reflection from all of us here at our Daily Bread Ministries. We've thought about some big subjects over these 8 lessons: what wisdom is, how to listen to wisdom rather than foolishness, what it means to examine our own hearts honestly, how wisdom sets our eyes on God's kingdom and inspires us to pray for the loved ones still dining with Madame Folly, why our relationship with God is our most intimate and precious. Perhaps the end of this series is a good time to re-emphasize a key lesson from Proverbs. Wisdom and foolishness are complete opposites. We cannot follow both at the same time, and there is no middle ground. We are either living for God's values or for those of this world. This is what Jesus taught in many of his parables. He asks us in Matthew 7 what we're building our lives upon. Are we wise builders constructing our lives on a solid rock foundation of his words, or are we building on anything else which will be like shifting sand when the storms hit? In Luke 12, Jesus tells the story of a rich farmer who had so many crops he tore down his barns and built bigger ones, saying to himself, "You have plenty of good things laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry." But that night he died, and God called him a fool because all his riches were left behind on earth, and he had invested nothing in his eternal life with God. Jesus told that story to help us ask ourselves what riches we are investing in. Are we looking to simply get rich in this world, or are we rich towards God? The same message runs throughout Proverbs and Jesus' teaching. We cannot serve two masters. So let's ask ourselves, what are we pursuing in our lives? Wisdom or something else? When we see our attention is being dragged away from Jesus, let's return to him with rejoicing, knowing that his love and grace knows no end. Let's live for the things that will still matter when we see God face to face. I want to finish with one final thought. In Genesis, God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. What conclusion can we draw from how God created the world? His word is powerful. He didn't form the seas and skies with his hands. He spoke them into existence, because what God says happens. He has said in Proverbs that wisdom is the greatest treasure we can pursue. That means it is. He has said that a wise life is a full life, so we can be sure it is. And he has said that those who give their lives to Christ are saved, so we have every reason to be thankful and encouraged. It is not our expertise in wisdom that saves us. It is Christ who is our wisdom, who is the only one who saves us and lives the life of wisdom through us. A wise life stands in awe of him and never looks to move on from that richly rewarding and transformational place. And I trust you have enjoyed reading through Proverbs, and I hope that God has revealed more about his wonderful love and his wonderful ways to you.